want to hear clearly. Some advice that you needed dearly. Don't waver, build your stacks up yearly.
Well, hey, everybody, welcome to The Distinctive Show. You probably noticed that the show might have changed. The intro changed. And yes, the show is changing. The market is changing. And so we thought maybe we should change with it. And so moving forward, we're going to have a new voice. And I'm going to be joined by the one and only rapping realtor, Keenan Coit. So I'd like to just let me make the introduction, Keenan, if you don't mind. And
yes, please do. Keenan the Kid too, for the people who want to know the rap name.
Oh, I love it. He's got a rap name too. All right, Keenan the Kid, the rapping realtor. So I've known Keenan for a number of years. Great dude. Start off there. Very successful real estate agent. I think coveted business award. Would be interesting. Maybe that's a question I've got to ask him. But I got to go with 30 under 30.
Oh yeah,
award.
For sure. Best award ever.
Yeah. Frequent guest speaker. Recently married. To me, it's recently. Recently married. Spectacular wife, by the way. No kids yet. Don't tell the dog. Avid golfer. Although based on what I saw on Instagram last week, I think maybe his wife's got him. Did you get a hole in one?
She's been beating me every single time this year. It's like kind of ridiculous, but I usually beat her. But we both have hole in ones now, so we're both pretty solid. But she's better than me for sure.
Awesome. Obviously, he's a rapper. Obviously, he's a real estate agent. And now, wait for it. Keenan's a millennial. He's one of them.
Yes. The best generation.
Yeah,
the
right.
generation
well,
that
certainly the biggest, right?
Yeah, and people say we don't work hard and all these things have been given to us, but I think we just work smart. We like to enjoy our lives, go out and golf, go out and party, do whatever we want. Let you guys work super hard all the time, and I'll make the same amount of money. Just kidding. But
I love it.
A lot of times, yes.
This topic today is going to be spot on. This would be great. But anyway, welcome, Keenan. Very, very excited to have you and hear your voice moving forward on all
thank
things
you.
business and life.
Yeah, and I think just people who don't know Todd, obviously most people do. The Todd father, he's a legend. Dude has insane work ethic. Like that's one thing that I love about him is his drive, his passion for what he does. But it also is kind of annoying. He's one of those guys that's just like, you want to be successful, wake up at 4 a.m. And I'm like, no, I ain't doing that, but respect to you. But yeah, he's built an amazing company. How many offices do we have now? Like 15?
Yeah, 15 offices.
Dang. It's crazy.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, thanks, buddy. I love the intro because that really goes straight into the topic today. So Cole and I, for those of you who don't know, my son Cole is 15 years old, and so we're reading this book together, and it's Darren Hardy's book. It's The Compound Effect: Jumpstart Your Income, Your Life, and Your Success. Love Darren. If you haven't read it, read it. But if you've got kids that are sort of those teenage years, and all they do is sleep and game and do all of this stuff, and I'm laughing because Keenan's like, "What are you talking about, man? That's what I do."
It's literally what I do. Yes, I am like a little teenager.
It's awesome. Anyway, it's just created some really cool conversations. So I thought maybe I'd read some excerpts out of this book, and then Keenan and you and I can just sort of chat a little bit about it. But again, this whole thing, the whole premise behind this thing is, well, number one, if I do these little things over and over and over a long period of time, they create these exceptional results. And so Darren kind of goes into what does it take to have the compound effect. So the first one I have down here is be the guy who says no. It's no great achievement to go along with the crowd. Huh. What do you think? What does that say to you?
A couple different things. I mean, just from like a business standpoint, I think I look at that as we get kind of stuck with like the rest of the crowd of just being lazy in real estate, and just doing kind of the bare minimum that we need to do. And we make pretty good money, but I think we got to stick apart from that. Is a big one.
Yeah, we think about the stats, right? Stat used to be 87% of real estate licensees fail in the first 3 to 5 years. That stat's gone up. It's like
Oh,
closer
I'm
to
sure.
90% now. So you think about that, and then
Yeesh.
and then I look at the like entrepreneurs uh, to have a business. So if you think about it, to have a business that does over $1 million in revenue. So to an agent, that would be like GCI, right?
Hmm.
That's the top like half of 1%. So you almost have to endeavor to be totally different.
Yep.
If you're not, then you're going to be part of the others. And where the recent stats by NAR came out and said that that 9% of the real estate agents did 51% of the transactions in 2021.
Sheesh.
Right. So you
Crazy.
got to do something different than the other 91%. Otherwise, you're scrapping over scraps.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah, and a lot of that is stuff we already know. It's just working hard. There's no magic pill. There's no secret out there. There's so many different strategies, but at the end of the day, it's just finding maybe your niche and doing what you want to do. And it's gonna be different from the way other people do it, but you got to go and do it hard and at a high level, and that's the only way that we're gonna succeed. So finding how you're going to separate yourself from the pack, I think, is important.
Yeah. I think you're going to like this next one. Small, smart choices plus consistency plus time equals radical difference. And he goes through this whole magic penny. And if you guys have heard this before, this thing's hilarious, right? He says, hey, listen, if I was going to give you a choice, I'll give you a penny today and it'll double for 31 days, or I'll give you $3 million right now, decide. And I asked Cole this question. He's like, I'll take the $3 million. I'm like, okay. By the way, I think that's probably a great idea.
That's a good choice. Smart kid.
Right. You start looking at it, and here's how this thing goes. Right. It doubles in value every single day. All right. So day 5, your friend has 16 cents. You have $3 million. On day 10, you have or your friend has $5.12. $3 million. After 20 full days, with only 11 days left, you have $5,243. I'm sorry, your friend has $5,243 and you have $3 million. Guess what happens on day 31? Your friend has $10,737,418.24, and you have a little measly $3 million.
That doesn't make sense to me, dude. That math has to be wrong. There's no way.
I know, right? Is that crazy? So you're 3/4 of the way through, and you're not even close.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the compound effect.
Yep.
It's pretty crazy, right?
Crazy. Huge. I mean, and it's so hard. I mean, it's something that I struggle with. Is we have to make a decision every day to do something, whether or not it's good or bad. And if we actually make those small changes in our lives, we can get that consistency, and then it does make those biggest changes. But I think a lot of people look at the big picture and see how tough it's going to be and would prefer not to even do it. So they don't even start anywhere. But I think you have to have a plan, one, and to then execute and live that plan and live that life that you want to live. But you have to really envision it, and you have to come up with it, or you're not going to do anything. You can't just say, yeah, I'm going to go do real estate today. You got to have a plan, and you got to do it every day.
Yeah, that's super interesting to me, right? I talk a lot about believing is seeing, and versus seeing is believing. For me, you look at that and you're like, well, there's no way 1 penny doesn't turn into 10,737,000. I mean, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So everybody wants to see it. Well, I'll believe it when I see it. No. You gotta believe it in order to see it.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about money. Talk about like cold calls and prospecting. We talk about relationships. Like if you want a great marriage, we all know, right? Don't tell our wives. We all know it's hard work.
It
Got to do
is so
something.
hard, man. I hope my wife doesn't listen to this, but it is
No, no,
so
don't worry.
hard.
They
And
won't.
it's the best thing. Yeah, they won't. They won't. She has to hear my rap music every day. So yeah, she's not listening. But yeah, no, so hard. But the best thing in life. I mean, my marriage has been so great, but it literally over the last couple of years has been one of the hardest things in my life, but it's also been the best thing in my life.
Right. It's because you put the effort into it, right? And you didn't, like, you go to the gym, you work out, you don't come out of the gym going, oh, look, I'm all buff, right? Or I've
Yeah.
lost all this weight. It takes time. You believe that by going to the gym every day, being consistent, eating correctly, it's going to have this impact, and then you will see it. And I think
Yep.
that's what gets you through the hard times. He has in here the same thing with pounds, 31 months. Right, so 940 days is the sample size, and basically what he's done is said, hey, if you take 940 days, which is what 31 months is, and you just simply eliminate 125 calories a day, which is a soda, by the way, right? Just to give it some perspective, it's 117,500 calories, and in 117,500 calories equates to 33 and a half pounds.
It's crazy.
So simply by cutting out one soda every day, 31 months from now, you will be 33 pounds lighter.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Crazy. It sounds too easy. Like it's not true. Just same thing with the penny thing, but it's so hard for us to do it. I mean, even for me, the gym is tough to get to, and I haven't gotten to the gym in years, man. I go out and golf, I stay active, but um it's that. It's just I know it's going to be tough, and I'm like, well, do I really care to be that fit? Not really enough to go. So it's like you got to find that motivation. And as I start getting a little bit older, I'm like that motivation becomes my health and my energy, and all of that. So I think
I,
same
I,
thing with
I think
real
I think you
estate. We
just
have
called
to
me old.
figure that out.
I think you just called me old because I go to the gym a lot. But you're right. And when you get a little older, you start thinking about it. Well, so here's this ripple effect that he talks about, because I think this is exactly what you're saying. You're a young man, and so you have different priorities, which is awesome. And again, that's one of the reasons that we're doing this. You see the world differently than I do. But this ripple effect, I think, crosses the barriers, and kind of gives us an example about this guy who his passion is watching the Food Network, and he's become this little baker, and everything is great, and it's not a big deal. I mean, he loves cooking, and he probably eats a little bit more than he should, but nobody really notices. It's not a big deal. But the ripple effect starts where the extra food makes this guy a little bit sluggish at night, and so he wakes up in the morning, he's a little cranky and groggy, and the sleep deprivation, because he didn't sleep really well because of the whatever, right, begins to impact his performance at work, becomes a little less productive, and gets discouraged. His boss is kind of giving him a hard time. So by the time the day is over, he gets back and to the house, and low energy, a little cranky when he gets home. Right, the commute is a little longer and stressful. A little road rage, I think, is kicking in. Right,
Yep.
and then then he gets home and his energy's off, and so his wife greets him at the door, and he's like, rough day. So she misses their time together, and so she starts to take his withdrawal and crankiness personally, and they stop walking together. They stop spending so much time together, and the thing continues. And because he's not happy, he starts finding faults in her, and stops complimenting her, and he's feeling bad about himself, and he's a little flabby, a little out of shape, and feeling like he's not as attractive, and he's a little less romantic, and this just keeps going, right? Lack of energy, lack of affection. Now all of a sudden he's watching more TV. Now he's staying up later, which is more impact on his sleep. And now the wife starts to complain. The wife needs something from him because she's feeling this distance, and she becomes needy. Love that one. And now she's lonely. She's withdrawing, so she starts to seek out her girlfriend. And so she's going out and hanging out with her friends so that she can have that communication, because he's kind of on his own deal. she's out with the girlfriends and other guys are paying attention and flirting with her. And, next thing you know, he thinks that she's cheating. And, now we've got a whole deal.
It's
It's a little
crazy.
dramatic. It's a little dramatic, but gosh, man, it's kind of true. I can't tell you
So
how many
true.
people I know that have gone through that.
I like that story just because it's something that we can all relate to in a way, whether or not it's relationally with somebody or it's in our daily lives where we eat bad food for a couple days or for a couple weeks or for years, and we start feeling and bad, and it just kind of shows you that bad choices and good choices, small, have ripple effects. And we need to, for sure, cut out those bad ones, um, and bring into those good habits as well. But it's a really tough balance, especially in my generation. Like, we really are taught, like, love yourself. Everyone talks about that all the time, which is so true. Like, we need to have confidence and love ourselves, because if we lose that, our relationships and everything will have a terrible ripple effect. And so I think the way we keep that is sometimes by doing the things that we love in our job and making sure that we enjoy real estate. Because if we hate real estate, we're not going to succeed. So I think it's finding those passions, is one thing that can help us at least move toward the good goals.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. I heard you, like, both both are habits, right? Which is, this book is all about habits, right? You can choose good habits or you can choose bad habits, and they both have a ripple effect, and you get to choose. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I think honestly, for most of us, we choose the bad habits most of the time. And unfortunately, our life is going to get worse and worse and worse. Luckily, we have people who can pick us up and help us out through that. That's why I think coaching in real estate is so huge, from the mental aspect of everything. But yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to that first point, right? Like choose to be different, because the average person is probably choosing more bad things than they are choosing good things to make habits. We
Yeah.
see it in
And the
everything, right? We
average
see it
person
in,
is depressed and sad and
right.
hates their job. And what's the purpose? What's their why? They don't have one anymore because they've lost it somewhere.
Yeah, average person fails in business. Average person gets divorced. Average person, dies young, sick, whatever, right? Healthcare is in shambles, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, that's super powerful. I think the other thing is the definition of loving yourself. you know, when you were saying that, and I'm super interested to hear what you think about this. But when you were saying that, and to love yourself, and I think I'm kind of a hard driving guy who chooses the hard over the easy, but I'm sitting there thinking to myself, oh, love myself. I should be at the pool, my feet up, having a cocktail, and eating a big, huge bowl of pasta or maybe a chimichanga. Like, that's what I was thinking. Even though I know that the true evidence of loving oneself is choosing the hard and being disciplined and informing yourself and making the right decisions even when they're hard.
Yep. Oh, for sure. Yeah, and I think my generation has changed the way that we think about loving yourself, where, like you said, it becomes this thing where I love myself and I am who I am, so it's okay that I have all these bad habits and it's okay, but no, it's not. Like, some of those things are okay, but we have to love ourselves and be confident so then we can actually go and do the things that we're supposed to, like you were saying, and make the hard decisions and do the right thing. But we're not going to be able to do those things if we don't love ourselves first.
Yeah. God, there's like four podcasts in that one statement. All right, let me read
Mhm.
this next one. So it says, we've been conditioned by society to believe in the effectiveness of a great display of massive action. So like that whole deal, well, it's going to be hard and it's going to take a long time. Um, it's monotonous. It's boring. It's uh, the doldrums. No, 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 no. I want to go to the gym one time. I want to come out of there Arnold.
Yep.
You know,
Social media has completely blown it for us in that regard, where we see just the highlights of everybody, and we see people just blow up out of nowhere on TikTok, Instagram, all these things and become famous. That's not real life. But that's what my generation has been taught, is that's what we see. So me making a rap album, yeah, deep down, I hope that it blows up and I become Kanye West and I never have to do a real estate podcast with you again. That would be great. But I
Awesome.
know realistically,
Will you remember me though? Like, will we still
yes.
be friends?
Yeah, you can come to some shows, backstage passes for sure.
Special tequila, like you and I will have
Yes.
a special. Okay, all right, just to make sure.
But yeah, with that, I know that I'm just like I'm loving myself by making this rap album. I've always enjoyed music. I'm getting my creative side going. I'm getting better. Every song I make, it's hard because it's just like it's better than the last one. So then the last one I have to go back and make better. And I just continue to get better at what I'm doing in rap. And same thing with real estate, but it's never just gonna blow up. Like
Yeah.
I might have to, if I really wanted to succeed in rap, which I could, I really believe that, I would have to make like 10 albums. And then I'd probably then have enough buzz to where I'm starting to blow up. And I don't love it that much to where I'm going to put that much time into it. But
Well, but
yeah,
you're
just
young too, so I mean, you think about it, but that like literally what you just said is the definition of the compound effect, right?
yeah.
Okay, so I put all these songs together, and I finally come up with one, and in a year maybe you have two, and in 4 years you have five, and like it just
Mhm.
kind of it gets each time you get better at it, it comes off faster, you write
Yep.
songs better, like next thing you know,
Editing is
you've done 10 albums
perfect.
and you are crazy good.
Yeah, and that's where then I really feel like I could make a career out of it, and I think we can do that with anything. But since we're in real estate, let's do it in real estate. Why like I'm trying to hire a full-time assistant now because I've been in the last 2-3 years just selling around the same volume, 10 to 15 million dollar range, and haven't gotten past it, haven't dropped below, but I just haven't been growing. So it's like, okay, time to grow this thing to another level, because if not, what am I doing?
Mm.
I'm not getting any better. I'm not giving my clients any better service. I'm not making my life any better by just doing the same thing every single day for the last 3 years.
So help me understand, because that's like when I think of the millennial, and I think of listen, I just want to enjoy my life. I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, that's kind of the old guy, right? The Gen Xer, saying, hey, uh, that's kind of what you guys are known for. Like you're really good. Listen, selling $15 million in real estate is not chump change. You are crushing it, especially in your market. That's a lot of deals. That's a lot of happy customers. That's a great reputation. There's so many things that go into that.
Mm-hmm.
But like the millennial says, hey, listen, I'm making good money. I'm just going to hang out, play golf, and do my thing. But
Yeah.
I'm hearing a different tune from you. That's not what I would have heard.
Yeah, no, well, and that was exactly my tune the last couple of years. And one of the coaches in our company, Jeff Renovier, really helped me in our last coaching session just on that, to help me kind of figure out more of my why again and get motivated to work hard again. Because no one wants to be stuck in that just monotony, just day after day, especially after COVID, man. Like that was depressing. Like
Yeah.
same thing every day. And yeah, just wanting to take charge, and I don't know exactly what changed with it. I wish I could tell everyone exactly, but just having conversations and figuring out what you want in your life. And I think people just don't think in general. We have so many distractions. We don't have time to actually think about what we want, what our dreams are, what our goals are for our business. We do business planning once a year, and then we throw it into our cabinet and never look at it again. Like we need to spend time and actually think, instead of just on our phones and then, oh, distracted by the TV, or, oh, this, whatever, like sitting down, slowing down, I think is huge for millennials and everybody these days.
Yeah, I think it's everybody. Yeah, I think that bridges the age gap for sure. And consistency. It's consistency. The challenge is you put like, there are some people that were on Instagram, TikTok, immediately had, millions of followers, and they were showing their butts and their boobs, and they're some funny, it reminds me of that show Jackass, right? Like those guys
Yeah.
they are just a bunch of clowns doing stuff that, Frank, between you and I, neither one of us would do, but we think are funny, and we're guys. And so you laugh at that stuff. But but they were overnight success, and it really wasn't that hard. And they have had the ability to monetize that. But you're
Yep.
talking about like 1 in 100 million.
And all the other ones who have blown up have had to grind to do it. One of my
Yeah.
friends who is on TikTok and has close to 1 million followers, he posts like 3 videos on TikTok a day. So he's making videos, coming up with ideas, and then actually doing it and just consistently doing it.
Uh,
If I wanted to, I could blow up on Instagram. I bet you I could get 100,000 followers in a year if I just posted an Instagram reel every single day.
That's super interesting. So even the quote unquote, and here I am, right? I'm the coach, the Todd father saying, oh, they are overnight. No, it's the iceberg, right? So here, even the overnight success people on IG are being consistent and disciplined and all that stuff.
Yep. Other than the 1 in 100.
Yeah. Other than the 1 in 100. I'm going to read this because this is perfect for this right here. He says, if we gave lottery losers each 30 seconds on TV to announce not I won, but I lost, it would take almost 9 years to get through the losers of a single lottery.
Yeah, the lottery is stupid. Whoever, if you play that, you're dumb. Just kidding. But
you really
for
feel?
real.
For real. No, for
but
real.
for real.
Like,
but
yeah, but that's
the
that. Oh, just one effort. I just bought one ticket, and look at all these people. And they're making millions of dollars, and these IG TikTokers, they're just making millions of dollars, and they get focused on the wrong stuff, right? They forget all the people that just wasted their life trying to do this thing that didn't work.
Yeah, the lottery is a perfect example of how most people do their lives. They don't put the work in. They hope that they can just go and buy a ticket, but then at the end of the day, they realize, shoot, instead of actually winning any money, I spent $100,000 in my life on the lotto where I could have invested that and I would have had more money than if I even would have won the lotto.
Yeah. It's the difference between, like in my mind, I'm thinking about, the real estate business. There's a difference between investing and gambling. And there's so many things that are out there that are just they're buying for every real estate agent's dollar and every real estate agent's time and effort and focus. And they all promise that you'll make more money than you ever thought possible, and you won't have to work. Just give me your money. Like, to me, that's the lottery.
Exactly.
Versus these agents that are like, hey, listen, I'm going to have 4 to 6 lead sources. Here's what they are. Here's the plan, the execution. I've got it on my schedule. I track all of the actions. I track all of the outcomes. I sit down every week, every month, every quarter with my coach, who I have another investment, and I go through everything to make the determination as to whether or not I'm spending my resources, my time, money, energy on the right things and getting the right return on investment. Those are the ones that are winning. And they're just quiet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They don't need to brag about it or tell you about it. I think off your lead generation point, like with those people who call you and say, hey, you should work with us. If anyone ever calls you and tries to sell you something in real estate, just know they're not a good company because they're having to actually cold call and call you. The good companies aren't cold calling and saying, hey, Todd Conklin, you should use our lead source. You're calling them because it's a good lead source. So all those are bogus. So yeah, that's just a side note. Never do any of that crap.
Words of wisdom from the millennial. All right. So the secret to success was then, whatever then was, and is now hard work, discipline, and good habits. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. 100%. This job, and we'll talk about this a lot. There's so many different ways to do business. So many different ways. And there's a lot of old school ways that I don't touch, man. I don't want to do that because it goes back to the things that I want to do in real estate. I want to actually enjoy them. Even if they're hard, I will enjoy them because I know that they're going to, bear fruit. But you have to really, find those things and execute those and have a plan.
I kind of want to ask, like, sidebar, like, what are some of the old school things that you just hate? You're not going to do?
Cold calling, door knocking. Let's see what else. Open houses. I hate open houses. I don't like to work on the weekends unless I'm showing a couple houses to somebody. But again, that's my opinion. Those things are killer. I know people who've made millions doing those things, so I know that they work, but they're
Yeah.
not for me.
Yeah. No, I love it. Awesome. All right. I love this one. He was talking about like the kiss of death, right? Nothing fails like success.
I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I had to sort of contemplate that. We teach masteries, the steps of mastery, and we talk about the first step of being in this business is that I have no money, I have no leads, I really don't know what I'm doing. So critical to get the proper training and to set the correct foundation. Okay. And so what happens is we don't have any money, so we have to do the hard work. We have to do the open houses, the door knocking, the cold calls because they don't cost any money, and we don't have any. So we go do that, and we start getting leads coming in, and we're like, "Oh, hey, the funnel's filling, it's coming." And so that next step is I've got some leads and I've got some money. Now what? And that's when we start talking about, all right, well, we have to build infrastructure and structure, organization. Schedules typically is something that we got to touch on at that point, and tracking and measuring so that we can begin to articulate the true value of each source. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then we get into step 3. So now I've got the structure, I've leveraged my team, company, whatever. Right? Now I'm a momentum. Well, hey, momentum. Oh man, now I'm literally just going on these listing appointments. I'm going out showing property.
That's the best. That feels good, man. When you got that momentum, man, real estate is fun.
Yeah, the mo, baby. The mo is it.
Yep.
And that's the success, right? But if I looked at it, so the next step 4 is quantum leap. And what I've noticed is that those people that can get to quantum leap, they look at the momentum and follow me with this, right? Those are the people that you and I would look at and go, oh, he or she's successful. They look at it and say, I am failing. They are afraid of what's coming next. They're waiting for the next shoe to drop. And so what they do is they go back and they look and they go, all right, what worked and what didn't work? And what am I going to do more of? And I got to make sure, because they're afraid. They're afraid to go back to the other thing. And those are the ones that end up with the quantum leap. So the others, what they do is they sit back and they're like, this is rad. Yeah, I'm going to Hawaii. I'm buying the new car. I'm bought a boat. I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm doing these things and these kinds of things. And the next thing you know, they're back to, I have no money and no leads. And they have a house payment, a car payment, and all of these other things. And they're toast.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think you're right on there. I think another thing with that too is just with the failure stuff, that for us to actually get good at this job, we're going to fail so many times. We're going to lose clients. We're going to drop the ball and forget to text somebody back or email somebody back, and then you see they bought a house with somebody else. But we learn from those things, and we don't want them to happen again because that was a failure. So then we don't let those happen again because we put those systems in place. And I love what you said about the quantum leap stuff, because that's exactly where I'm at right now. I've got momentum. And the last few years I have been okay with just like, yeah, cool. Like I'll just sell this much real estate for the rest of my life. Life's good. And that changed because one, I bought a house that's quite a bit bigger and quite a bit more higher payment. So that will help. But I think I don't want to just live an average realtor life. If I'm going to be a realtor, if I'm going to do anything, I want to do it to a high level. So I don't fail. When I put out my rap album, I want it to be really good. I don't want to embarrass myself. And that's pushing me, that fear of failure, a fear of having a terrible rap album looking like a fool is making this thing sound pretty damn cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I think people are like, oh, you can't live in fear. Dude, I love fear.
Yeah.
I love fear. Fear is my friend. Fear is what gets me up in the morning going, I got to go slay a dragon today. Fear is that is that thing. Like I kind of lean into it and like, okay, baby, like I'm going to own you. You're my bee, right? Like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it gets me moving. The comfort is not good for me. I'm not the guy that can sit on the beach and, read a book and spend I got to be moving. So I
Yep.
love fear. It's a great motivator. So
Yeah, and I think that's just a generational different thing, man. I think our generation is taught like, again, like love yourself who you are type thing, and don't have fear in your life. Like that's not a good feeling to have. We only want happy feelings. We only want good feelings. But then it's not real life, and then crap happens and we fail, and we're like, dang, I wish I would have been fearful that I could fail this way because I didn't even know.
yeah, or at least fear less, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's pretty, dude. That's so good right there. Hmm. All right, let's. So the next section of this book. So that's compound effect, right? We talk about like, hey, listen, you got to do these things, small things, typically over time. Yeah, you got to have a why. You've got to understand what motivates you. You've got to lean into that motivation. You got to do the hard things even when you don't want to do them. Everybody can do them when they're easy. Like all of this stuff, and then of course, you got to know the data because, to your point, do you want a penny compounded or doubled every single day for 31 days, or do you want $3 million? Everybody goes, 3 million, give me the 3 million. But we just showed that, oh, that wasn't wrong, right? So you got to be smart too. So
Hmm.
smart choices. Now we start talking about the choices. And I love how he starts this off. We all come into the world the same. We're naked, scared, and ignorant. After the grand entrance, the life that we will end up with is simply an accumulation of all of the choices we make.
Yep.
Dude, what
100%.
do you
I
think
look at
about that? Because, dude, there's a lot of people in the world that are like, that's not true. Like shit happens and bad shit happens to good people. And like,
yeah.
what do you do with that?
It's a tough question if you're looking at just like the world in general, because there definitely are people who are at a disadvantage. Um, I'm not, and most people aren't. Especially when we're talking from a real estate aspect or just like from a job aspect. I look at it and I just say, like, we have the potential to do whatever we want and succeed at a high level because we're all good at something. We're all very, very different, but we can all succeed using our gifts. And we all have these different gifts that a lot of people are scared to show off or scared to be accepted for who they really are. So then they don't go and do business.
So give me an example of a gift that somebody would be afraid to show off.
Rapping.
Bam. All right. Mic drop.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, literal mic drop. No, rapping, I think, or like a lot of people are good on video and they're scared to do it for whatever reason. And it's such a huge part of any business these days, any social media is. Um, and or someone maybe that's just like kind of shy and doesn't like to talk much is like, maybe I don't want to get into real estate because I'm not outgoing as outgoing as Keenan is, for example, but they have these other skills and gifts that are they're so much better at than I am, like their organization skills that they'll totally be able to jump into in real estate and kill it if they just do it.
Mhm. Yeah. I think, I'm 53 years old. I've started over a number of times. I've had successes. I've had lots of failures. I hope that I've learned from every single one of my failures. Um, we reinvent ourselves every morning. Every single morning we start from zero. And I think, yeah, people that are born into certain, I guess that's the exception, not the rule, I guess. But also on the other side, I think it's the exception, not the rule. I think this country, and we're so blessed to live in this country. You think about what's going on in Ukraine right now, and like literally, these people have built a life that's being stripped from them right now.
Yep.
And no, they have no control over it. It's just happening. We don't have that here.
Yep.
So we are literally the beneficiaries of the lucky sperm club. Every single one of us
Oh
is.
yeah. But we'll
And
use any excuse we can get to to say why we're not doing something or why we didn't succeed or why real estate didn't work out or why we
Yeah.
didn't do this or that. And
It's
and
it's it's
yeah,
sorry. It's like that. It's like if you don't have this, you know, tragic story to tell about how you were, you know, raised, you know, in an orphanage, beaten daily, you know, all of these things, then your success is somehow or another not as valuable. I,
yeah,
I didn't I didn't grow up with money, but like I don't remember ever missing any meals.
yeah,
You know, I didn't you know, my family, I tease, right? Like, I grew up normal. You know, I had, you know, 4 dads and 3 moms, and you know, like there was a lot of brokenness in my growing up, but I don't have any tragic, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he survived that. But
it's a broken world, man. We all have just like bad stuff in our past, and we all have these things that are holding us back from greatness. Um, but we gotta just get over that and be a man or be a woman and kick ass.
every day, make the choice. We are going to get up and we are going to kick ass. Whoa, man, right?
Yep. And it's
Yeah.
it's
No,
it's easier said than done because even me, very positive person, very optimistic, high energy. There's a lot of days, dude, where I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to do anything today, man. Like, so it's finding that in yourself, and I think that's just growth as a person too. I think I'm maturing more as I get older and starting to learn these things. And I think for anybody, it's learning, it's growing and learning why and how you can actually get yourself to feel that way in the morning, because it's not going to happen overnight. Your brain's just not going to switch for most people, but we got
yeah.
to
Well,
take those actionable steps, those small little decisions we make that then builds, and our whole mindset set just changes.
it's the habit. It's
Yep.
literally building a habit. You, so, side note, sidebar, ready? So, like, how important is it for you to have people in your life that can say, "Hey, Keenan, hey, Keenan, the kid, you're kind of in a negative space, man. I know that you said you were going to be, you know, really trying to be more positive. Like, what's going on?" Just to
Oh,
even
it's
just shine a light on.
so important, man. I think you need at least a couple of family members to be that person for you. You need a couple friends because they're the unbiased. They're not your family, so you can kind of trust it more. And then I think you need life coaches and real estate coaches and go to psychologists and go talk to people. I think we all need that. I think we all need to be kept in check. And I another rap analogy is I sent after I make a song, I send it to a bunch of people because I kind of want to even know if it's even good at all. Because I don't know, I've been working on it for 10 hours myself. So I'm all locked in and I think it's a masterpiece. And then I send it to somebody, they're like, ooh, that ain't it, and but I had no idea. I was like completely blinded by it. And so many of us are just in our daily lives, blinded to these things that are just like negative for our choices, in
Yeah,
our
dude, that's powerful.
relationships, in our businesses, in our golf game. We don't know those things. We're blinded to those. We all are.
Walking around just zombied. That's pretty
Yep.
funny.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, I love that. That's good stuff. That is really good stuff. I think it was Andy Frisella that was kind of talking about, hey, like wake up for all of you that have you didn't have a bad day, right? Like you didn't have a bad week, you didn't have a bad month, you didn't have a bad year, you didn't have a bad life. But if you're not careful, these little like moments, like you had a bad conversation with an individual person, and then suddenly that cratered your entire day. And if you put enough days together, they
Mm-hmm.
equal a life. And so you've got to get really good at training yourself to make the choice that that one thing is just one thing, and you move
Yep.
on. And so you know, I choose to talk about every morning I wake up and I get to determine who I'm going to be today. And I love that freedom and that excitement that I get to reinvent who I am today.
Yep.
And that way, if I screw up, it's one day.
Yep.
It's not an entire life. It's
Yep.
one day.
Yeah. Or
Love it.
it's one appointment and it's not the rest of your day is ruined. And it goes back to loving yourself, like the definition that you said, where like loving myself is making the right decisions for myself because I deserve to have a happy life. I deserve to every day go out and make some moves, you know? And but it starts with that. If you don't love yourself and you're just going to say, "Well, life sucks," you're not going to make a change.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to move on to one that gets me in trouble. Are you ready? This one gets me in trouble with all my coaching clients. It gets me in trouble with my family. It gets me in trouble with my team. It's called owning 100%, and it says we are all self-made men and women, but only the successful take credit for it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read this other piece. If I always took 100% responsibility for everything I experienced, not some things, everything I experienced, completely owning all of my choices and all the ways I responded to whatever happened to me, I held the power. Everything was up to me. I was responsible for everything I did, didn't do, or how I responded to what was done to me. What do you mean? What
That's
do
a
you think?
game-changing mentality right there, because you take out the excuses, you know? There's it's now not because of my past I didn't do this. It's no, you chose to not do this. And you chose to respond this way to your wife, even if your wife was in the wrong and you're pissed and you have your pride like overhanging, you know, like you still responded poorly and made things worse. So yeah, I think it's just taking ownership of our actions, and by doing that, I think we can actually continue to grow as people, because we're able we control our destiny. We control how we feel every day.
All right. I totally agree. I'm gonna share. Well, so there's a couple of things, right? And this is how prevalent this is. Every single one of us does it. I have met anybody, I should say, that doesn't do this at some point. It's just sort of been bred into it. But how many of you have said, "Oh, you know what? You made me feel bad," or right, "You really hurt my feelings." Well, you can't make me feel bad.
Hmm.
You can say some things that I don't like, that I don't agree with, and if I agree with them and I don't like them, I probably make myself feel bad because I'm judging myself. But you can't make me anything.
Yep.
You don't have that control. But is if I give that control away, you have the control, and now I'm not responsible for my winning or losing. You are.
Mm.
That was super powerful for me. But when I have a conversation with any of my people and they're like, "Oh, this happened to me," and I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa." To be super like ridiculously over dramatic, I get in a car accident taking the dog to the vet, right? And somebody's like, "Well, that wasn't your fault." And I'm like, "Well, everything is your fault." No, no, no. That is not it. And I'm like, "No, no, no, you don't understand." Right? Like, if you didn't have a dog, would you have been going to the vet? No.
Yeah.
See, so it was your fault. Oh, that's ridiculous. Okay. Well, maybe you could have gotten a mobile vet service. Well, that's, oh, well, okay, I guess. Or maybe you could have taken a different route. You could have gone at a
Gone
different
earlier and
time.
not been on late and dry and speeding, whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever. Right. You maybe you didn't drive. Like whatever. The end of the day, the reason you had that accident was based on a series of choices that you yourself made. And rather than looking at it as a bad thing, you should look at it as incredibly freeing, because you successfully do things every single day that are
Mm.
also 100% your fault. And that's why I get to when I see that, hey, listen, we are all self-made men and women, but only the successful take credit for it. Like that's what that. I think we focus on the bad, but the truth of the matter is that we have all of this good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh yeah. Mindset is key. And I liked what you said about, so say you said something to offend me. Hey Todd, like you really offended me, man. Like, but I didn't tell you that something like that would offend me. So you don't know. So you shouldn't feel like you didn't make me feel sad. my own past and the things that I have in my life made me feel sad. And if I don't want to feel sad about them or have you say something mean to me, then I need to tell you up front. So then we're on the same level playing field, or I can't blame other people.
Amen, brother. Preach it. The rapping realtor, Keenan the kid, preaching. All right. Getting lucky.
My mom is a
only difference
pastor.
That's right. You got that. You got that going for you. I need some amens and some hallelujahs. You got to put some of those in there. The only difference between becoming fabulously rich, happy, and healthy versus ending up broke, depressed, and unhealthy are the choices you make. We were just talking about
Yep.
that. Brilliant stuff. All right,
And
so,
I've seen that life. My dad was a teacher. My mom was a pastor. We didn't have a ton of money, but they made great decisions and always made sure that we were doing the right thing. And they live such a happy life, way happier than a lot of people who have way more money than them.
yeah, it really does not. It really is not dependent on that, is it? It's not about the money. Yeah, it's not about
Luckily, my wife does not care about the money at all, so she keeps me grounded.
There you go. I love it. All right, so no matter what's happened to you, take complete responsibility for it. Good, bad, victory, or defeat, own it. The day you graduate from childhood to adulthood, this is a Jim Rohn quote. The day you graduate from childhood to adulthood is the day you take full responsibility for your life. Bro.
Hell
Come
yeah.
on.
Amen.
You're a millennial. That's all your problem. That you guys don't take responsibility for anything. It's just a millennial thing, isn't it?
Oh yeah. It's not just a millennial thing but we have it bad for sure. I think it's definitely more prevalent just in just like work life. We see that with millennials, work-life balance. But I think for anybody, I think so many people I see day to day in real estate just are in a bad mood about something or um, complaining about this deal, that deal, or the washer and dryer aren't included. This is terrible. My life sucks. It's like so many people just have this terrible mentality. And it's like, no, you can choose your life. You don't have to buy this house, like or whatever. You don't have to be in real estate. So stop complaining every single day about how terrible and your job is. Get out of your job then if you really hate it.
Yeah. Well, I was being funny about the millennial thing. Dude,
but it's true. Yeah. It's true.
It's really not. It may be, but it's a moment in time.
Yeah.
If we go back and we look, and maybe my grandparents were different. I don't know. I mean, to me, that was the greatest generation. They were, they fought for this country. They saw things that hopefully we'll never have to see, and they did some things that, when they went to work, they worked hard, and they did it with a smile on their face. Or they didn't really smile very often, but
Yeah.
Maybe they had a moment in time. But certainly, the boomers, you think about it, right? Hey, that's what the 60s was all about, right? Like, oh, love yourself, love everybody else. My generation, we had the same thing, like where we were sort of selfish, and your generation. Number one, there's a ton of you, and number two, but you're all growing out of that. Think about it right now.
We're at the age where we don't know. We
we
don't know life yet. We haven't experienced real life.
I know a lot of 50, 60, 70-year-olds that respond the same way, that don't take the responsibility the same way. Unfortunately for them, they're a long way through their life, and that's got to really suck. You guys are still young, kind of doing your thing. What's interesting is, a third of the transactions I think last year were millennials. A third. Think about that.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, we're making moves.
Yeah.
Even though you guys
obviously you're doing something right.
You guys screwed up a lot of the economy for us, but we can still make the moves.
Well, I appreciate you taking responsibility for that.
Exactly.
All right. So neglecting, well, I'm going to skip to the next. The biggest difference between successful and unsuccessful people is that successful people are willing to do what unsuccessful people aren't.
And I think you can just boil that down to mentality. The simple little tasks that we don't think matters, getting out of bed early, going to the gym, they matter.
They matter. That hour of power that we were talking about. Oh well, it's on my schedule. Like so many. We talk about the caller version and how heavy the phone gets. Right before you're supposed. Everybody struggles with the same thing, y'all. Like you are not unique in that you don't want to get started making the phone calls. They start uncomfortable. Now,
Yep.
I don't know anybody that doesn't get into the phone calls. We're just using it as an example. That doesn't come out of that going, you know what, that was really awesome, right?
Oh
Because
yeah.
good things happen.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's dealing with the same stuff. Everyone's tired. Everyone's got issues relationally, in their business, in everything. But it's the people who decide to do it.
And here's one of those things that nobody wants to do, right? All winners are trackers. You cannot manage or improve something until you measure it.
Super true. My business for my entire real estate career has kind of just been like, well, I know where my business come from and I have these lead sources and I post on social media, but I've never tracked it, never been organized about it. So that's why I'm hiring an assistant who can help me do that, because that is not my area of expertise. And I want to get better in every single day and realize and be able to look at a specific week and say, huh, I know why I didn't get any business under contract that week, or I didn't have any closings that month, because I can track it.
Yeah. You know what I admire about millennials, or I'll just say young people in general. So my generation was, hey, like here are the 5 skill sets that you need to have in order to be successful. And you look at them and you're like, I really love this one. I mean, maybe I'm not super great at it, but I really love it. I'm pretty good at these 2. And then I just either hate or am no good at these other 2. And so what we were taught was, well, you take the ones that you aren't very good at and you lean into them and you practice and you grind and you get really good at them. And you just suck it up, buttercup, right? Like just do it. And like your generation says, hey, listen, I'm really good at this thing over here and I really love this other thing over here. And so I'm going to pour all my energy into the areas that I have a superpower. And then
Yep.
I'm going to delegate and leverage somebody else who's really good at this other stuff. And you guys just end up with a better result.
Yeah. And I think a big reason why we are able to do that is just we grew up with technology. So we've always just kind of been able to understand workflow efficiency and how to communicate effectively with a lot of people or whatever. It's just always been kind of what we are, and what we've grown up doing. And I think also just the loving yourself side of things too. It's like we want to enjoy our lives. And for me to enjoy my life to the max, I'm not doing all the cold calling, all that kind of stuff, but I know I need to do it. So I need to leverage.
Yeah, what you're saying really though, like specifically to that, I don't want to go in the rabbit hole, but specifically to that, what you're saying is, hey, listen, I know I need to have lead generation, got to have it, right? Whether it's that kind of lead generation or some other kind of lead generation. But yeah, I don't know. I've just really noticed that I have always been the guy that's like, I will crush you. I will not quit. I will not die. I will work through it. And that's created some tough times in
But
my life. Now, it's
also
been great
your
success. No, I get it.
great success.
I
We
have the
lack that.
willingness
Like,
to
that's a
do it.
great skill to have.
I have the willingness to lean into that stuff, but as I've gotten older, I think I've come to believe that y'all are right in that. Hey, listen, I got to do the hard thing. I'm not talking about being a chachi and not doing the hard work. I'm just talking about like that area where you're no good at. You guys are very quick, and it may just be that you have such great access. And we talk about GTS, right? Google that shit, dude.
Exactly.
And there is, we don't need to go to another training for the rest of our lives. Do you think
Dude.
about that? Like Cole comes home from school and we're talking about like, what did he study? And I have to laugh, right? Your dad's probably the same thing. I know he retired, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So he probably can be honest now. He probably couldn't give us the honest scoop when he was still teaching, but so much of what he was teaching, a kid can Google it and know in about 12 seconds.
Yep.
So what you can't learn from Google was sort of the interpersonal communications and the connection that your dad was so good at. But like, holy smokes, man, we could never go to another training as long as we live. It's all available on Google.
And that's just the way of the future too, man. Like school is going to be completely different because the technology is moving so quickly now, and what technology has been doing is it's trying to deliver information to us as quickly as possible. So now we have Siri or whatever, and we can just ask Siri a question. But 10 years from now, it'll be a chip implant, and we'll be able to know the answer to who was in the war in 1883 like right away, Yeah. And so schooling will be different, and everything, businesses will be different because we will have access to this information. But it's exactly what you said. The people who are going to stick out and really succeed in life are going to be the people who can communicate with other people and have interpersonal skills. And that's why salesmen, like what we do, we're a dying breed, and people, we're gonna be really good at what we do in the future for sure, because we're gonna be some of the other people who can communicate.
Yeah, 100%. It's funny. So I'm reading this book, this Tony Robbins' Life Force. I'm only 50 pages in, but it talks about all of this advancements in technology and what it means to our life and that kind of stuff. It absolutely blow your mind. It's talking specifically about these things. Like if you don't have your eye on what's going on in the future and how quickly technology is impacting everything we do, from artificial intelligence in medicine, right, to lead capture and artificial intelligence in how we service our customers, to technology stacks. And I'm talking about a CRM, guys. That's not what I'm talking about. Right. I'm talking about something that is fully integrated, that can go out and capture a lead, i.e. social ad engine, drive that lead to a website, i.e. your back office, or back at you, i.e.
Campaigns.
Then technology that through its artificial intelligence to say, hey, listen, not all leads are created equal, and we're going to nurture them this way and get them through the funnel to when they actually raise their hand, to throwing them into a transaction coordination system of some type that creates transparency so that it doesn't require you to communicate, because your customers are tired of waiting on you to communicate. Hear me out.
Yes.
They do not care to wait on you. They don't want to call you and ask you. They don't want to text you and ask you. They don't want to email and ask you. They want to be able to get the information when and how they want, period. And then this idea of client for life on a whole other variety of different things. It's not just the home sale. Like, you are the community expert. So they want to know
where do I get a haircut? Who's a good barber? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, and if you want a great beard, you call the kid, right?
Yes, sir. You know it.
All right.
Yeah,
All right,
I think it's important for us in technology in general and in real estate to stay up on that. A couple of my successes in real estate have been from going on to Inman and going to their technology section and learning about new softwares that they are like talking about and getting on those before anyone else did. And I think there's still so much potential for that today, and people should be doing that. If you're new in the business or been in for 10 years, we need to be keeping up with new technology and figuring out ways to better serve our clients and to leverage and to make our jobs easier.
It's funny. My wife asked me this morning. She said, "So, what are the 3 things that are requirements to becoming successful in the real estate industry?" And one of them was learning. Like, I had to learn every single day. And to this day, I've been in the business for 20 years. To this day, I still learn every day. And they're like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I'm a coach. I do all this stuff. Yeah. How do you think that I continue to stay relevant? How do you think I continue to grow? I didn't just get into momentum and go, "Oh, I'm going to let it take it from here. The wins will be great. They'll fill my sales forever." It doesn't work that way.
No. And the day you stop learning every single day is the day when your business is going to start slowing down. And yeah, I mean, we need to keep learning every day. And that's one thing I love about real estate, the opportunity to learn, to get coaching, to have fun environments, work environments where it's not just your typical office. It's fun, and we grow. We see each other grow. I see agents like that I'm a guru for I love to see them just like learn it and not even need to ask me anymore
Yeah.
about how to handle any sort of question that's asked or whatever. And it's cool. It's cool to see that growth, but we need to keep growing ourselves, like, and ask ourselves and have people like you or our family members keep us in check. What did you learn today? Just like you ask your kids when they come home from school,
Every
what
day.
did you what did you learn
That's,
today?
that's
You should
right.
be getting that question asked to yourself.
All right, so I can't remember. I wish I could remember the Bible verse. Maybe you know, but in the Bible it actually says this. But he has it in this book. You are no longer sleepwalking, right? You now know. You know what the compound effect is. You know that it's about a series of choices. You know that it's 100% your responsibility. You can no longer blame it on anything else. You are no longer sleepwalking.
Yep. Yeah, and I say with that, it gives me, yeah, I guess, hope and positivity. And I think we can just look at the big picture and get just kind of scared and fearful and like, oh, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to, bring on a full-time assistant to do these things. But I know that every day it's going to make my life better, and I'm not just kicking the can down the road to future Keenan and saying he can worry about working hard when he needs to. It's like, no, work hard today,
Yeah.
don't cheat yourself.
Yeah. It's back to the blind eye, for me. Like you know, we, it's everywhere. We were like, oh, well, I know I shouldn't have this 15th cocktail, right? But you have it anyway. Like to me, that's sleepwalking. That's you're no longer sleepwalking. Once you realize, uh, this is this is crazy. So I have this whole like executive physical thing that I'm doing, and so I don't know why I never really knew this, but like I never really knew like what's an acceptable number of cocktails to have, right? Like what's considered social
Mm,
drinking?
I'd say
What's
4.
right? How many days a week? Like all of those things. You're talking health and vitality. I don't know. I just never really knew. And I'm like, well, I don't drink every day, and or whatever. Like drink a couple of days a week or whatever. And then the guy's like, well, how many drinks do you have? And I'm like, I don't know, probably 5 maybe. If I'm gonna drink, I drink.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh yeah, we got to stop that. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, I think we'd like to see you have 1, 2 cocktails max, 1, 2 days max.
Ooh, yeah, I need to maybe
Whoa. Well,
it's
yeah,
not,
like
yeah.
that was an awakening for me. But like I was laughing because I'm like, Doc, I really wish you wouldn't have told me
Right,
because
right.
I was perfectly happy and content walking along, sleepwalking along, not knowing the answer. And we got it. Like we know we have to do the hard work. I love that. Here's this last little piece and kind of wrap this, but this is so good. Losing is a habit. So is winning.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of
Hell yeah.
my
Amen.
drop, right?
It
Let's
is.
win.
Yeah.
I hate losing, bro. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, people are like, oh, what's the secret sauce? No, you don't understand. I'm not sure I have any secret sauce, or if I have it, I don't really know what it is. I hate to lose. I am competitive. I've always been competitive. I was raised by competitive people. We didn't. No, nobody got on the tennis court and said, "Oh, I think I'll just, you can win today." That never happened in my world.
Yep.
And that's awesome. I love it. Now I'm not a sore loser. When I lose, I high five the person that won because I know how hard it was for he or she to get there, for he or she to win at whatever it is that
Mm-hmm.
they're doing. I know that their success is completely their fault.
Yep.
But I learn from every single loss, and I take that information and I put it to work so that the next time I win.
Yep. Yeah, and I think for me, I mean, you like to win, like you're a winner. For me, it's not as much about that. For me, I think it's just confidence, man. I have confidence in myself and I believe in myself and I don't waver from that. And I said this so many times and I love myself and I believe in who I am. So I win because of all those things. So when I like to win, of course, but I just know that if I stay confident with who I am and do things that I'm supposed to do, I'm going to win.
That's funny because that is you nailed it because you win and you win a lot.
Yep.
The difference on how we get there is different. I'm
Yep.
more of a bull in a china shop, and
Yep.
everybody's like, oh geez, what did he stir up this time? What did he break this time? And you kind of go along, and I think people maybe misinterpret your confidence. I want to call it quiet, but it's more calm. It's not quiet. You're not a quiet dude. But you are calm as oh, he's just a kid, he's just a millennial. No, you're just confident that keep doing my thing, I keep being me, and I'm gonna win.
Yep.
I love that.
And I think that's for anybody, because that's you.
Amen.
You're a winner. You're gonna go out there and win because you have the ability to, just like we all do. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, compound effect. Making choices. It's 100% your responsibility. The new and approved Distinctive Agent show meant to be relevant and keep you distinctive with the rapping realtor Keenan the Kid Coit and me
and the
Todd
Todd father.
Hi y'all. Hey, as always, thank you for being here. Subscribe, share this for us. As I think as Andrew Pacelli says, that's the payment, is a share. Please invite somebody else to follow. And as always, be distinctive.